let's be careful not to tag our children based on their actions. So I don't go with you are rude. That was rude. So it's not my child who is rude, but what he was at that point in time. Hello, hi, hello, how are you doing? Welcome to another episode of Copper with Kiki. This is the girl Kiki, and first of all, if you've been waiting for me or you you missed this because I was late, I apologize. And so I know we moved the date from Wednesday. We moved the date from Wednesday to Thursday now, because a lot of us are beginning to go back into the office. So, and today there's just been back-to-back meetings that I was so tired at 12:30, and I said I needed to catch my breath so we could maximize this time together. So again, hi, cheers. If you've got your cup of tea, your coffee, or hot water, or whatever it is that you like drinking, and welcome to another episode of Copper with Kiki, where we share tips and lessons that we learn on a daily basis, or how we're working with our teenage boys as parents. And today, I want to be talking about something that is very, very important in the lives of our teenagers, and that's communication. Communication. I've heard a lot of parents, a lot of boys or fathers or parents talk about, oh, he doesn't know how to talk, he's so disrespectful when he talks. In fact, I have actually looked at some teenagers and wondered, should he be saying that? He should be a bit more diplomatic, or just to be, just the way they talk to adults sometimes. And I have realized that, or from my interactions with teenagers, I've realized that a lot of them always wonder, what is wrong with what I've said? What is wrong with the way I've said it? A lot of them always, they don't know why why we complain, or why we're saying the way they've spoken or what they have said is wrong. And I think I kind of get why they don't understand or know that they shouldn't talk that way. Are you asking me, so why do you think they should? Why do you think they don't know? Because we've not told them, because we have not taught them. We have not told them or taught them. Now, there is difference between getting angry about the way your teenager speaks to you, and then throwing tantrums, or getting angry and responding from a place of anger. And there is a difference between that and you actually teaching them and making them understand that, oh, that's not appropriate to say to an adult, instead of saying that they did. And one of the reasons why I feel that we should talk about this, it's a while ago now. I can't remember how long ago, but I was talking, I think I've shared it here as well. While I was talking with my teenage son in the car on the way to taking them to school. And I said, in my own opinion, blah, blah, blah. And his response was, well, that's your opinion, mommy, but it doesn't mean. And the way he said it, I was like, what do you mean it's my opinion? I'm telling you something. And, as we were talking about it in the car, I just remembered that sometimes they say it the way it is to them. It doesn't necessarily mean they're being rude. And after we had that conversation in the car that day, he went to talk to his godmom about it, and then I kind of explained what I meant to him, or why I felt that wasn't appropriate later on to him, and we kind of came to an understanding. I realized that after then, if he said something or shared his opinion or his thought, he goes, does it sound rude? And I had to again began to tell him that, you know what, you don't always have to be on edge. The fact that it happened that way doesn't mean you're a rude child. It just means that we need to work on your communication skills, which we now began to work on together. So, two things I have said there. Be careful the way you correct them, the way you put this across to them, so they don't become intimidated or they don't become timid. and lose confidence in their communication skills. Number two, do not tag them. The fact that they talk that way sometimes doesn't mean they are rude. It doesn't mean the child is a rude child. It only means the situation. So let's be careful not to tag our children. Hi, Oluwadamilare. Thank you for joining me. Let's be careful not to tag our children based on their actions. So I don't go with you are rude. That was rude. So it's not my child who is rude, but what he was at that point in time. So those are two things already. And then again, I want to mention again that, when we're correcting them, hi Champ, thank you for joining me. And when we're correcting them, let's be careful the language we use with our teenagers. It goes a very long way. Now back to the topic where the topic of how they should speak to adults. Now a lot of them do not know that what they say, particularly for our children, or the children of first generation immigrants, or those of us that were brought up in Africa, in the UK. And I've even realized that from friends or family that I work with in Nigeria as well, or in some parts of Africa, it's still the same thing. You're wondering, could I have said that to my father? Why would my child say that to me? Hey, in their own time, they're taught to speak up. We don't want a situation where our children are not able to speak up the way we were able to speak up when we were growing up. So they're taught to speak up. And when they speak up, we should learn to listen and correct them. A good example is when something is not going right with a child. I remember when we were growing up and your mother cooks something, God help you, is for you to say you don't want to eat that thing. Not even because we're African background. I was speaking to a colleague at work yesterday. It's the same thing with them as well. So God help you to say you don't want to eat that thing. Hi, Tommy, thank you for joining me. You would know where you would land. But with them, if they don't want to eat it, they don't want to eat it, they will stay. I kind of like it because we don't want to raise timid children, particularly in this world that we are in today. We don't want our children to be timid. So I want them to talk to me. But again, how should they speak to me? It's my responsibility as a parent to teach them, to model how they should speak to us. Now, if you don't want your child to be rude, and you as a mom, you're always rude to dad, or you as a dad, you're always rude to mom, definitely the child will talk to you that way, because that's what the child sees every day. So one, we need to model how our children should talk to adults by us talking to our fellow adults in respectful manner, right? And again, when they talk and they do not get it right, be careful, be subtle, be gentle in correcting them. We should be able to tell them that is wrong. I always say to parents, hi Uncle Tommy, thank you for joining me. I always say to parents, you've said your child has done something wrong, and then you now top it up by doing something wrong yourself, and the child is wondering what's happening here. So when these things happen, we should learn to be the adults. My child has said something wrong to me, and I think the way he said it is inappropriate, and I yell at him. Two wrongs there. We should be careful the way we react to our children, and that's how they would learn from us. If my child, like the day I was talking about, thank you, Uncle T. The day I was talking about my child in the car when he said, oh, but mom, that's your opinion. In fairness, that day, I kind of said, really? Are you talking to me? I'm telling you something, you're saying that's my opinion. And the boy was confused. And later on, when I reflected, I was like, why wouldn't he be confused? I am telling him what he's done is wrong. He should communicate better. But the way I was communicating with him was nothing to write to me about. So, two wrongs. And then I couldn't even teach him because of the way I allowed my emotions to take charge of me. Which takes me to point number 3. Every parent needs to be emotionally intelligent. We need to learn to take hold of our emotions. We complain that our teenage boys, they throw tantrums in the home, they do all of these things in the home. But how about us parents? In fact, I think we parents are sometimes, we need to go back to school to learn some of these things. Our children are better than we are when it comes to some of these things, the way we respond to our children. So, number 3, be emotionally intelligent. Take hold of your emotions. Learn to handle your emotions when you respond to them. Hi, namesake Bukola. Thank you for joining me. Learn to take hold of your emotions when you are responding to your child, particularly your teenager. Because a lot of the time, I've heard parents say, oh, they like to stay in their room. They like to retreat to themselves. Yes, they like their space. But when it becomes an everyday, every hour thing, they're running away from something. And most times that thing is us parents. My son shared a joke with the family WhatsApp group yesterday, where 2 African parents were praying about that God, everything that is disturbing my child, take them away. And then the 2 parents disappeared. So, meaning it is the parents that are disturbing the children or something like that. I'm just like, these children will not kill somebody with all of this joke. But hey, are we the ones making them run away from the house and we say, oh, they love retreating? I've heard a teenage boy say, I think it was when I was having, I put my oldest son on the spot and said, okay, tell me why people like staying in your room and everything. And tell me, I'm not talking about you now, but what do people say? And he was like, okay, better you're not talking about me. And you know what he said? He said, a lot of the times we stay in our room because we don't want to get into trouble, because we don't want people to complain about us. So that means we should mind the way we give them feedback. If your feedback is always complaining about them, they will run away from you. When they run away from you, they will not be able to learn from you. But again, they need to learn. So where will they learn from? Who will they learn from? Anybody out there who is ready to teach them. Whatever they teach them now is up to them. Their own values, whatever kind of value. God help our children, they don't fall into the wrong hands. But we sometimes push them into these things unknown to us parents. So when it comes to teaching our children to communicate with us, we should learn to be patient. Learn to model to them. Be patient, model the right way to communicate. By the way you communicate to fellow adults, to dad or to mom. And then be emotionally intelligent and learn to give them feedback, constructive feedback. I love to use the sandwich method. The good, the not so good, and then the good. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to be able to do that with them. But the results are amazing when we are patient to do that with them. And then finally, listen to them. My son has said to me once, oh God, I'm boiling eggs. I hope that, let's turn it off. My son has said to me once, when we were having a conversation once, and he said, Mom, is that rude? And does that sound rude, or was I rude there? And I just said to him that, oh, what do you think? So we can ask them what they think. Give them the opportunity to talk and listen to them. Okay, and then, so instead of always saying, oh, that was rude, what do you think? Do you think that's an appropriate way to talk to an adult? Okay, how can we rephrase it? How can we talk? How can we say it better? Because remember, you're not teaching them to only talk to you. You're teaching them to be able to talk to people outside of the house. You're teaching them to be able to talk to superiors and subordinates, lecturers, colleagues. So it goes a long way. It goes way, way beyond just the home to the outside world. And I am very conscious of the kind of children I send, or the kind of men I am sending to the society. So when it comes to wrap that up, when it comes to children or your teenagers talking to you as a parent, remember they're taught to speak up. So you don't want to shut them down. Give them the opportunity to speak up. When they speak up, be patient to listen to them. You model the right way to communicate by the way you communicate to people around you, and then be emotionally intelligent. Give constructive feedback and learn to listen. I love to say this a lot. The Bible says, "Come, let us reason together." Reasoning together is not a one-way communication. It's you talking, I listen, I give you feedback, you listen, and it goes that way. So if the Almighty, our Heavenly Father, as mighty as He is, can reason with us, He expects us to be able to reason with our children. I hope that it helps around communication in the home. My name is Kiki again, and I'll see you next week on Copper with Kiki. Thank you. Love you. Bye-bye. Time to go back to work. Lunch is waiting. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining me and staying with me. Please remember to share your thoughts or your own tips. We learn every day, and I want to learn. My children are still at home, and I want to keep getting better at communicating with them. So please feel free to share your tips, ask your questions, and let's carry on with the conversation. Bye, and I'll see you next week.